This is such a catastrophe that it'll have long-term effects. And we would hope that after the first relief efforts are concluded, Canada and its agencies are going to assist us in reconstruction and rehabilitation of the flood-affected areas and flood-affected people.
There you go. That is the High Commissioner of Pakistan thanking Canada for our response in what is nothing short of catastrophic as the death count mounts in Pakistan, where they got these record monsoon rains, which has wiped out farms and homes, food, water. Literally, when you see the aerial shots of just how much water and flooding they are dealing with there, like 500,000 people at least have lost everything. More than a third of that country underwater. And monsoons are not new to Pakistan, but certainly experts are calling this one a monster monsoon on steroids that'll cause, at the end, maybe more than 10 billion in damages, because it's completely wiped out villages, it's wiped out bridges, it's wiped out roadways. So there's a huge global push now to get help to this area. And here in Canada, we have an enormous Pakistani-Canadian community. It's the largest Pakistani diaspora in all of North America. We have 122,000 Pakistanis who call this country home. And so locally, we have a very, very big push to help get aid to these people who are in such desperate need right now. Rahul Singh is Executive Director of GlobalMedic, a registered Canadian charity. And certainly, Rahul, it's nice to chat with you. It's been a while. And I know, just given how many times I've come out to visit you at your facility and the work that you guys do with water purification, you likely had stuff out the door within minutes of hearing this.
Yeah, Alex, we've run, 250 ops, 81 countries. We've worked in Pakistan about a dozen times. We're already operational and working with a number of partners and widespread reach. And I heard you explaining to your listeners just how big it is, and I'm just going to reinforce it. 1/3 of that country is underwater. Yeah, and there's over basically 33 million people affected. That's what the size of our nation.
Yeah. When you put it like that, it's just an enormous challenge, and it's going to last a long time. But I've spoken to you before about what the greatest need for, and it's kind of all happening at once. But clearly, water. You can live with everything else, but you have to have clean water. And so, given the fact that you have had a lot of experience in this region, how quickly are you going to be able to get those purification systems in working? And what is the greatest challenge at this point?
Yeah, well, let's unpack what you said. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? 3 minutes you can last without oxygen, give or take. 3 days you can probably go without water. 30 days, without food. So nobody's getting anywhere in 3 minutes, as you know. 3 days, these people will start drinking that crappy water, and kids will start dying, and disease will spread. So we've got to hustle and hurry because, as you know, there's waters everywhere, but none of it is safe to drink. So some of the things that we've been doing is putting together these water units. So the volunteers are out right now. They're in the warehouse. They're packing away, and we are able to drive costs down by doing that. And then these kits get packed up, and it's a gravity-fed unit, no moving parts, no electricity. Mom pours dirty water in the top. The gravity pulls it through the ceramic filter. Clean water at the bottom. She touches a spigot. They get her kids clean water and keep them alive, right? So these kits go out by air. They land at all the major airports. Then they go out to families. We add in soap because we want to keep the kids clean, healthy. We add in a solar light because we know no one will have any power. In addition to that, that's the best solution. These point of use solutions for $30. I can get you clean water for a year. Just think of that for value for money and how effective it is. Then we got some mechanical units that we're offering up. So install them in clinics and kind of bigger areas where there's populations. And so we can just kind of purify the water and get it to folks. This is very similar to the crisis that unfolded in 2010. So you can't even call these century floods anymore. It's like the 13-year flood or the 12-year flood. And that one affected 20 million, right? And we're already at 33 million, and we're really still in the first phase of this because it's going to rain more over the coming days. More areas are going to flood. And then it's going to keep going from the top of the country to the bottom of the country as those rivers dump out into the ocean. So different places will flood out at different times. In 2010, when I led a team in, we basically chased the flood. We'd come into one area, set up a field hospital to replace the flooded out one, ran it for X number of days until they could clean out their one and get back and operational, and we'd move further south. So, but coming back to your thing, right away, Units are built every day. Units are flown every day. They get into our team's hands there, and then they're distributed, and it takes like 4 minutes to put them together. And then moms and dads have access to clean water for their kids.
What's the timeline? Do you have any idea, given the extent of the damage and what you're dealing with, as to how long things like your purification systems will be needed, or how long it's going to take to kind of control and or start getting control of the situation?
Well, I mean, first you need the water to recede. The water will recede at some point. I'm not sure how long that's going to take because you get more water coming in. You've got a lot of people up on the highland, on the roads, that aren't flooded, and that's, they're just throwing together some thatch roofs and little shelters, and they're trying to stay there. So those are the people you target and try and get these water units to. You got a lot of people that are living in government shelters, if you will, kind of big open air camps. Now, historically, there's always been problems because they're not allowed to bring their livestock in, and their livestock's their livelihood, so people won't go to those camps always. You can't blame them. You can't leave your livestock if that's how you feed your kids, right? Like, so just reaching out to families like this. The rebuild is like an entirely different section. We shouldn't even talk about rebuild. I'll give you a little anecdote in Urdu and in Hindi, kind of like the language in that region. Urdu is their language. They say kacha. Kacha means like raw or uncooked or kind of dirty or bad. A lot of the lands are called kacha lands. And this is where the poor lives because they know this is the area that floods, right? So who's the most affected? Well, it's the poor. Who can least rebound? Who has the least elasticity to rebound? It's the poor. Whose kids are immunocompromised because they don't have great nutrition? It's the poor. And this is who's going to die unless we get clean drinking water to them. I mean, it's such an exasperating, aggravating situation, but the answer is so simple.
Yeah, and people want to help, no question about it. There's a huge need for things like tents and blankets and all the rest of it. But the Canadian government has already put in, I think, $5 million, for donations. But at this point, Raul, everyone wants to send stuff. But like the last thing we need are packing up containers of stuff. The best thing is money. Send money, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, if you look at how you want to help, you send money. You send money to an agency like ours, right? You send money to other agencies that have a lot of experience, working there, can understand the cultural nuances and how to actually get aid out to folks in need. So now, if one of your listeners sends us money, I'm going to explain to you exactly how we're going to use that money. We're going to use that money to pack these kits and make these kits ready so that we can give the family a solution, whether it's the hygiene, the solar light, but most importantly, like clean water, and then get the kit into their hands so they have clean drinking water, right? The first couple of days, you see folks handing out, bottled water, and you can't sustain a solution on that, right? You can have plastic everywhere, and it's a very expensive way. It's like $1 a liter to move bottled water between trucking and distribution. These kits will run it at about 4 cents a liter, like when you factor it out. So there's that level. So money is definitely the best way. Don't put blankets in a container and send it, and 9 weeks later it'll arrive and hope that someone's going to clear it and hand it out. That doesn't work. Money to the right agencies that are doing the right work. At GlobalMedic, we have a mantra that we live by: the right aid to the right people at the right time. Right.
All right. So where can they send it? To GlobalMedic?
Yeah, they go on the website at globalmedic.ca. They can make a donation right there. We've got a Pakistan relief fund set up. I encourage everyone to do their research, make sure that the agencies you're giving to are doing the work and doing the work effectively, right? This is your hard-earned money you're given to. So that's where they can give to us, and that's how we're helping. Some of the tents and stuff that are going to be needed, we've actually offered up a lot of our larger tents. So sometimes you see some of our inflatable units or our more rigid tents. A lot of your listeners may have seen them up as vaccine clinics, here in the city during the COVID pandemic, right? So those are the kind of tents that we would pop up to kind of run clinics with, and even sometimes we use them as aid depots, right? We'll pop up tents at the side of the road that we can bring in those kits and then hand them out from there. We've offered those as well, plus the mechanical water purification systems. Food's going to become an issue there as well. Like, people that have lost everything, they're going to have to get some food. We got to get them into a spot to live. So all the primary things: access to water, access to primary healthcare, food, and then of course access to shelter. And then we can start talking about the rebuilding. Yeah, rebuilds way down the road. Nonetheless, I know your phone's ringing off the hook with people needing you. So, Raul, I very much appreciate your time on this. Yeah, no. Thanks for having us on. And look, good for you for bringing this story to the forefront, because this flood, it didn't happen in 10 minutes,
Massive.
right? This has been
Yeah,
unfolding
no,
for weeks, and people need our help.
sure do. Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Take care.
That's Raul Singh, who's with GlobalMedic. So if you want to, and he's right, don't give your money to anybody. A lot of people will exploit these situations, so make sure it is a registered Canadian charity that you understand. GlobalMedic, Red Cross, the big ones, they will get your money to where it needs to go. But it's a terrible, terrible situation.